Get started. Thank you everyone for being here. Other people will jump in later. We are so happy to have Noah because overcoming bad habits is the story of, I think, of our lives, right? That's also I was writing on LinkedIn that sometimes we feel like what is between us and our success is the bad habits. But sometimes we are just using this to say that, like to procrastinate, because we just want to find an alibi, right? So I'm very curious about this event and to know more about how to control it and what are the roots of it, so we can really get rid of the bad habits fast. So thank you, Noah. I let you the floor. Um, you can start now.
Thank you very much, Isabel. And I am really grateful for this opportunity to be able to share some insights with all of you. I know you come from different areas of expertise, and we might have met one another either on social media or even in person. So my name is Noah Namwamba, and I am a Kenyan. So I have spent some significant amount of time doing mentoring. And one of the things that really interests me is how people develop their habits, because I've learned that some of the things that we get in life and some of the things that we don't get in life are mostly, or to a greatest extent, determined by our habits. So why talk about overcoming bad habits? I hope today I can be able to serve you a good buffet. So in our conversation on habits, we're going to look at three-course meal. We'll have a very nice appetizer. Then we go deep into the main course and a dessert. I hope you'll all enjoy it. To begin with, I think it's very important to understand the kind of people we are. I'll start with a quote, which I like using with most of my clients and friends, that it's very important for us to know how we grow. Grow inside to glow outside. Growing inside cultivates values. And this is what makes us who we are. And by glowing outside, that makes you valued. I know you're people in different areas of expertise. Either you're an entrepreneur, or maybe you work for the government, or you are studying. But we all have some mutual goals. And one of them is we need to feel the sense of belonging, or we need to feel valued. And for us to feel valued, it means we must add value into ourselves, because it's people who are going to see the value in you and will feel like you're valued, or they can learn something from you. There's something very critical that I think I have always seen in almost everyone whom I've encountered. We all have what I can call the autopilot, or I know the default mode. Yeah, you can sometimes just find yourself doing what you didn't expect to do, but you just found yourself doing it because you have been doing it. So, what are habits? We are the habits. You're your own habits. And habits are greatly determined by the choices we make, or even the decisions we make. But how can this prove to be important? Just like I said, I believe we've all experienced being on default or an autopilot. For example, you don't need to look at your shoes to tie the laces. You do it automatically. And it's the same thing when you're brushing your teeth in the morning. You don't have to think about it. You can even brush them with your eyes closed. Yeah. And there's something very funny that happens, when we get stressed sometimes, especially having gone through the whole COVID-19 thing and still going through it in some countries. We've realized a lot of people have gone through depression and other mental problems or health related problems. So when we are in such stressful situations, it's very bad because the part of our brain called the prefrontal cortex, which is primarily responsible for cognitive control, goes off. It goes off every time you're depressed, every time you're stressed. So this gives room for the autopilot to take control. And that's why when you're stressed, chances of giving in to the temptations are very high. And the bad news is the more you do it, the more you keep on being on autopilot, the better you become at it. And it's quite important to understand how another part of the brain called the basal ganglia works. Because that brain section, it sort of programs our repetitive behaviors so that we don't have to think about them. For example, by doing something so frequently, it's recorded more strongly, or it recurrently becomes stronger, and it becomes part and parcel of the brain since it's already recorded at the basal ganglia. And this basal ganglia guy is stronger than our friend, the prefrontal cortex, who helps us to remember things and to recognize things. So why is this part of the brain very important? It's because it helps us to control ourselves. But the problem is it gets exhausted quite fast. But how can we boost it so that we can be able to perform much better? And that's why I think we need to understand our habits. We make choices in life, and some of those choices that we make, we actually regret them. Let's watch this. Just a quick one. Okay, good. Exactly. Small choices become actions, and these actions become habits and becomes part and parcel of our lives. So the different thing that you can be able to see is some of those very small habits that we tend not to be able to control end up making the people whom we are, and they shape greatly how we think, how we make decisions, how people see us, how we even understand things, how we even see the world. But can we be able to change this? Yes, we can, because we always have this very powerful guy on top of our heads called the brain. And every time we make good use of the energy or the power that the brain has, we can always be able to hack and make wonderful decisions and change the world. So, how can we change our habits? It's a very difficult question I always encounter. And, I don't have all the answers, but at least maybe I have a few which could be helpful. How can we do this? The first thing is we have to understand how to build your willpower. Because without willpower, we are more prone to be controlled by the autopilot mode, or basically being on the default. So willpower can make you a high achiever in all areas of life. And just like every skill, you have to cultivate it. There is no shortcut. It's a muscle. Yeah, we have to build it, and it's such a powerful resource to rely on. And by creating these new positive habits, it's actually a very good way to work on your willpower muscle. And sooner than later, you'll enjoy the results. So start small, because small habits matter. What makes us sometimes lose it is not really being committed. And that's why I think it's very important to talk about commitment. Because, you know, the moment we do not pay attention to what we are doing or what we are surrounded with, then it becomes a problem. Why don't we commit sometimes? Because we are human beings. Yeah, look at it. With something very basic or simple, like a schedule or a routine, we get to choose a typical good day that we want. You choose a good day for yourself. That's one thing we sometimes don't have a chance to do, but it's something we typically have to do. By getting to know what to prioritize and even what you never make time for, that's critical. So the question is simple. Are you committed to it? And just like other skills, when you're looking at changing a habit, you need to be committed. So committed, like extremely committed. It takes a lot of energy to get an airplane off the ground. And once it reaches a certain altitude, it can cruise with minimum energy. In our lives, we have to deal with certain things that require maximum energy to take off, like starting off Teranga Valley. You need energy. You need to be at your optimum. You have to give it your all and don't be stopped by any modicum of excuse or opinion, lest you find yourself in the same starting point. Commit, commit, commit. Keeping track of the time that we have and the energy. I'm so surprised that, in today's world, we really have a lot of problems than we can see because our problems are uncontrollable to a greater extent. Take an example. An average person checks their phone 200 to 500 times in a day. How much time do you spend on social media or even simply just feeling frustrated? Once you're aware you can change, you commit and you change. Sometimes it just needs that very strong willpower, just saying that I'm going to do it from now and I'm not turning back. By focusing on things that enrich our lives. For example, spending quality time with family without your phone, without your phone, away from your phone, sustaining meaningful conversations with colleagues at work, even in a coffee shop, or even reading self-help books. And more importantly, what I've always considered to be the master in the game, volunteer. Get out and help others on something you're good at to make you feel good and fulfilled. People do great projects, they make a lot of money, but they don't get satisfied. Make $1 million, make $1 billion, make $10 million, make $10 billion, make $100 million, make $100 billion, and still not get satisfied. Sometimes it's because they're not getting fulfilled. So, what can make you fulfilled? You don't have to have so much to get fulfilled. Just majoring on the major things and minoring on the minor things and not majoring on the minor things. That's key. It makes you happy. So, my friends, one thing that I've always learned from a few friends, my mentors, and I've always shared with my clients is you have to master your time and create value for it. Grow yourself, share. Grow yourself, share. Because the moment you grow yourself, you're happy. The moment you share, you become hundreds of times happier. And it will make you a greater and better person. And it's your choice. Your habits, your choices, your decisions make you. It's a choice to be great at what you do, but you can be better. You can make someone else be greater than who you are. And that's why we have children, because we want them to be better than us. I believe I'm talking to extraordinary people. And there's one secret. It's not really a big secret, but we know it, or maybe we've heard about it a couple of times, that really extraordinary people have to do extraordinary things. So we don't just have to change on the outside, we also have to change on our inside. For example, love. Love your friends, love your family, because love is contagious. When you spend your time with people you love, you feel loved, and you love others. You feel more connected and mellow. Yeah. And love improves our physiological and mental health. How do we form these habits? It's uh, something we know. Cue, behavior, reward. Repeat every time. I feel bored. I'm just gonna check the likes on my phone, or I'm just gonna answer my dopamine trigger. I got 1,000 likes today. Yeah, and then that makes you feel good, and it keeps becoming a habit, slowly by slowly, until now you can even hold your phone and type your password without looking at it. You can wake up in the morning and reach out for your phone next to your bed without really making any effort. But some of these very small habits take a toll on our creativity, on our brain power. Because every time you do something that you're good at, that means your brain is not forming new cells. And that's it. So we've got to understand the triggers. And before following the cue or going for the craving, you've got to be curious. Be curious. Take a step back. Oh, should I smoke right now? Okay, I feel like smoking. Okay. I feel like I'm feeling like I should smoke. So keep adding more feelings to it until you make the feeling go away. Because you can never ignore your feelings. Never ignore your feelings. It's a big lie. If you feel like crying, okay, you don't have to cry immediately, but just understand that it's a feeling. And be curious about that feeling. Where is it coming from? And attack the reward. Sometimes it's not good because it takes a toll on your energy and it steals your time. And this is something we can always work on by using what we call selective ignorance tactics, by focusing on things we want to focus on and ignoring things we don't really need to make time for. Mahatma Gandhi is someone I really respect. I was privileged to go to India in Gujarat, and wow, it's quite a humble home. And I could really see the kind of person he was from the community he lived in and the kind of community he left. He left a legacy. So I'm picking one of his famous quotes that your actions become your habits. Your actions, it means like what you do every day become your habits, and your habits become your values. Back to our first slide. What are your values? It's what you have on the inside. It's what makes you glow. So if you don't grow your inside, then that means your actions on the outside are going to be an opposite of what you want people to say, or of what you want yourself to sell to the world or to present to the world. Your values become your destiny. Now that's scary, especially if it's bad habits. But we can change. We always have the time and the potential to change. So one very critical thing that I've always, I've always, I've always asked myself, what do we have, or what do I have? I always approach my projects, everything I'm trying to do with this question: what do I have? Yeah, what do I have? It's something we all have. Time. I got time. And I got energy. But these two resources are finite. They can get depleted anytime. And they are critical in forming good habits. And go and work out. Go work out. Nancy, go work out. For what? To get energy. To feel different. Yeah. Juliet, go work out. Kwame, go work out. Get enough sleep. You're building your energy because you need it. But now, do we need to use it every time? Sometimes we need to save it. So you need to be a master of the energy. You feel it and see the difference. You'll feel it and see it. Because when an opportunity comes knocking, it needs your time, it needs your energy, mental energy. I'm going to give an example of a very interesting Zen parable, which tells a story of two plum trees that needed the warm summer for their flowers to bloom. Like, one of the trees spent the whole winter growing its flowers. When the summer wind blew, the tree blossomed. Beautiful. But the other plum tree only started preparing its flowers when the summer breeze arrived. Oh, I'm gonna do this so fast. Yeah. By the time it was ready, the breeze was gone. Lesson. Simple. Time and opportunities are limited, so we've got to make the most of it. Life is beautiful. It's a beautiful gift given to everyone. We all have it. That's why you're attending this webinar. It's powerful. So we've got to use our gifts confidently and add value to others and make them also see the gifts we have. Some of the excellent habits that I've been able to gather, some are very critical to me, and I really value them. One of them is listening to others. Apparently right now, I'm not listening to what all of you are thinking, so I have to listen to your hearts. I can't do it, but I believe we'll have a Q&A session. I'd like to hear from all of you and learn from all of you. So listening to others is great. It's something very critical. But one of the challenges of our generation is we have very few listeners. And listening just doesn't have to be like sitting there. No, it's also about being an active listener, because listening is a skill set. It's a critical skill set that can help us improve and learn. And by listening, we can learn a lot of new stuff. Whereas by talking, just like I'm doing, I'm simply saying what I know. I'd like to learn from all of you. So if you got the habit of interacting with others, you need to consciously change that habit. So firstly, we need to be ready to listen. Then understand that listening is an active process. Because when we sincerely and truly engage with what's being said, we are working on our attention. And that's a critical habit, or it's a critical skill. And it helps us not get distracted. And more importantly, it helps us to engage with an open mind. So by being a great listener, because I've heard from some corporate leaders that I'm working with people who feel like I'm too bossy. So my first question is, do you listen to them? Do you just sit and listen to them? Or even over a coffee and just listen? Not say what you want. Listen to what they want or what they know, because they are critical in the development or growth of your organization. So sometimes we don't give each other this 2 minutes, there's that 2 minute rule where let someone at least explain whatever they want to say. Listen 2 minutes before you interact. Drop your assumptions. Let them finish. Then decide whether to agree or disagree. Before you say, "Oh, I think I'm right," or "You're wrong," or "You're right and I'm wrong." Because truth is relative. Depends on your experience. Your left is my right. Your top is my bottom. Because like we are shaped by our cultures. And that brings me to the second point, which is an excellent habit: positive talk and positive thoughts. These two are related because our talk and thoughts shape our lives. What you say is affected mostly by what you think, and what you think is affected by what you listen. So you've got to control what you listen or what you hear. Selective attention, selective ignorance, ignoring what is not important, what's not part and parcel of you, because that helps you to narrow your scope of attention, and it builds a very critical part of you in your routine. It makes you stable in your mood. It's irreplaceable. And I think it's not just about the talk and the thoughts shaping our lives. It's also about understanding that our mouths are powerful. Your mouth is powerful, everyone. Your mouth is powerful. I wish your microphones were on. I wanted to hear everyone saying, "My mouth is powerful." Just say it from my background. My mouth is powerful. I have power in my mouth. Because you say it and it happens. So we need to cautiously select what to say. And that's why for those of us who believe in God or Allah or that greater being, we believe in what we pray. Because you say it and the Creator makes it happen. Of course, it has to be the right things. And our brain is coded by our everyday language. So when you use negative talk on yourself, say, "I can't lose weight," or "My speaking skills are awful." You're encoding that in your brain. Keep repeating them, and they become your truth. Fix that. Reverse engineer the whole thing using positive statements. "I can lose my weight after making an effort to work out 3 times in a week. I can do it." And it's going to happen. But if we ignore it and be so negative, it takes a toll on our brain. Um, so, by making very realistic uh, decisions or choices, it also helps us to form great habits. For example, even by just being able to speak in front of your friend's husband. Maybe if you felt like your speaking skills were not that good, but now you can be able to work on something like that, then that's positive. Yeah. So focus your attention on negative stuff, and there you go. Reverse engineer. Focus your attention on worthy stuff. You feel great, and that's where journaling comes in. You've got to journal. It's key. Like it's a skill set. It's a habit. It changes people. What you write makes you think, makes you think something. It goes to your thoughts, positive thoughts. What you think can be influenced by what you write or what you read. What you think affects what you say. It can be about yourself, it can be about others. So think about three things you're so grateful for: your job, your project, your life, your abilities, your wallet, yeah, your kids, your family. How does it make you feel? Makes you feel good, right? Makes you feel good. And let you keep doing it on and on. So next time you feel low about yourself, stand up, feel your heartbeat. I'm still alive. Look at the mirror, smile. I'm so special. Put your hands akimbo, pull your shoulders to the back, smile again. Our face has almost 80 muscles. When you smile, you're making use of almost 53 muscles. Yeah, you still have to work out, but know that, oh, by smiling, 53 muscles are put to task. Save your time, save your energy, just like we said. Like, time is critical. We have 1,440 minutes in a day. For energy, I'll not measure. We have different amounts of energy, but we all have the same amount of time. How you spend it determines who you become today, tomorrow, and in the future. And who you were 3 years ago might be the same person if you did not make some changes 3 years ago. And you might be the same person 3 years from now if you don't make a change. So these are critical things. And it's all determined by the now, like doing things now. There's something I like saying. I even have a small notes on my wall. It's called now. So when I want to do something, I just look at it and it's like now. I've got to do it now. And it motivates me. And then sleep. Please don't sleep right now. Let's finish the conversation first. But sleep, because sleep is power. And sleeping at the same time and waking up at the same time every day is critical for our moods, for our emotions. We are emotional beings. We need our emotions to keep track of our habits. They help us. So by having enough sleep, it really helps our brains even to be more powerful to create new memories. The hippocampus, it's really critical. People who are sleep deprived, say those who are supposed to sleep for 8 hours and sleep for 6 hours, they lose as much as 711, on average, 711 genes, which end up being used in forming some bad diseases, cardiovascular diseases. Some of them end up causing stress and what have we. So sleep is really critical. Having 8 hours of sleep is very important. And it's not just about sleeping, it's about getting the deep sleep. We need it. We really need it. Doesn't make you lazy. We really need sleep, guys. And the time-saving recipe. I hope you like the recipe because I've been using it. It's been so useful to me. Some of them are typically difficult to cultivate, but they're very useful. The first thing probably I'll talk about is the calendar versus the to-do list. Oh, we live in a world where almost everyone tells you, hey, you've got to have a to-do list. Sometimes I'm like, no, I don't need that. I go for the calendar, the traditional calendar. You can got it on my wall, or I have another one on my desk. Because when I look at it, it makes me know what exactly I have to accomplish. Because I wrote it with my pen. It sounds sort of traditional, but it helps. Because today, in today's world, time thieves are ubiquitous. Whether it's a screen flickering with a new text, an email pop-up, or say, a phone call, our time is constantly being stolen from us. And just like I aforementioned that we got 1,440 minutes in a day, it's that limited. And once we lose this precious resource, we have no means to recover it. So if you can, do away with that to-do list and go for that old-fashioned calendar, because research shows that 41% of items that are written on to-do lists never get completed. If it happens with you, say I. I'm sure a couple of you said I. More difficult stuff and those less important are left undone. But when you have a detailed calendar, because you can be able to allocate time for every respective task, you can solve such a problem where you can account for every minute, at least. On the other hand, you can also have a permanent checklist. A permanent checklist, don't edit it, it's the same one. I'm going to show you a sample. And you can be able to check the list of items that you have to do every day. That has to do with like you having a very strict routine. A routine is key, and I think I'm going to talk about it. So it depends on what you do. If it can work for you, well and good. Try it. It's good to try. How do we overcome procrastination? Imagine yourself, procrastinating until you become what we call a chronic procrastinator. You can even procrastinate yourself, because by procrastinating your sleep, procrastinating your workout, procrastinating eating healthy, procrastinating drinking water, procrastinating time for your family, procrastinating your work, you're procrastinating yourself. Because we are our habits. So if you procrastinate the good habits, it's like procrastinating ourselves. That brings us to the second very critical time-saving item, which I feel is critical, used by one of the best performing managers in the world. Determine your MIT. Your most important tasks should rule your day. Without you selecting what you feel is important, then people can make the important your important. And they end up, using up your time. And then that becomes difficult for us as people to prioritize or to know what to do. And we end up losing a lot of time. So how can you go over this? Imagine your future self. Imagine yourself 10 years down the line looking so chubby, or, looking so unfit. And you'll be like, no, I have to go and work out. So you can include that on your vision board. Yeah, a very, unfit guy. You look at it and you're like, no, I have to go work out. I can't look like that when I'm 50, when I'm 60. Yeah. One thing I love about Chinese, having interacted with them for some time, is that the older they become, the younger they feel, or the younger they tend to look like. Yeah, and that has to do with seeing most of them, the ladies, in their 60s and 70s, doing square dancing in streets in Shanghai, in Beijing. in other cities across China. It's such a beautiful thing that I see. Or waking up in the morning to see um, a man who looks like he's in his 70s or 80s doing Tai Chi, doing the Tai Chi Chuan, like the Chinese Tai Chi, the Thai boxing. It's really, really, really nice, because they master their health. Yeah. So by seeing yourself in the future, it more or less helps you control and try to do only the best for yourself because you want the best for yourself. And the last thing is saying no. I know we all know this, but just allow me to repeat it again. Like, it's okay to say no. Because when you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, sometimes which might be more important. So saying no doesn't make you weak. Yeah, it's actually a strength to say no. It means you're really a master of your own time and your energy. And we have all heard about Warren Buffett, who is famous for saying no. He says no to almost everything. And that has helped, it really helped him to build and flourish in his businesses and also in his general life. It's okay to say no sometimes, or most of the time, if you can, for you to be able to have a working schedule, or for you to cultivate habits that are going to save your life. This is the example of the checklist I was talking about. Yeah, you can have something like this, but it has to be temporary, or you have to design such a checklist like every week, and at least be able to check and know and keep track of everything that you need to, do away with. Something else is noting down your thoughts, which I do most of the time. It can be a very mundane thought, like a book you didn't finish reading 3-4 years ago. By noting it down, it triggers a memory. It makes you remember something. And I think it's something really helpful with our lives. So why is it important to note down your thoughts? Writing your insights and new ideas really helps, because one, it's going to help limit your trips to your inbox or reaching out for your phone every time. And it also helps you to clear your mind and boost your overall productivity. And someone who is very good at this is Sir Richard Branson of Virgin Airways, because he said that he will never ever, he would have never put up his business empire without his trusty notebook. Like, his notebook is his life. At one point, he even wrote an idea on a passport because he couldn't locate his notebook. But he had to write it down, yeah, on his visa pages. And note taking is a critical skill set. It's a skill, and cultivating it changes your life. It enhances your memory. Whereas constantly checking our phones and emails is quite unproductive, and it serves only for the hit of dopamine once you get a message or a like on your post. And it's addiction. Yeah, it's something we really have to look at. One of my areas of interest in research is mobile shopping addiction. And you find that people, just by downloading a mobile shopping app, feel motivated to shop and keep shopping without checking the bank account balance. They just keep shopping. It's the same thing. You keep looking at your email, assuming that you have a new email, and it keeps taking a toll on your energy and your time. And of course, it interrupts your focus. I have a suggestion. Ooh, what? There's a famous technique called the 3-2-1 technique, where you check your mails 3 times in a day and ensure you hit zero inbox in 21 minutes. 3-2-1. 3 times a day, 21 minutes. And forget about it. Can't even work for your social media feed. And something else which is really important is this is good for some of us who are in the entrepreneurial world or even the corporate world. Delegate. You don't have to do everything. Delegate, delegate, delegate. Let people do things for you and save your energy for tasks that require a lot of mental energy. Delegate. Yeah, it's really helpful. And a morning routine, this is something that I've been working on over the last almost 9 to mm, 9 to 11 months, almost a year. Yeah, I've been working on a morning routine, 1 hour, critical. I don't do anything. I don't reach out for my phone. I don't do anything for an hour. What I do is I dedicate my first hour to doing 3 specific things. I pray, I journal, and I work out. After that, I can now have my breakfast. After spending the hour praying, journaling, and working out, makes me feel refreshed and fulfilled, and it makes me happy. When I do the hour, I'm always checking on the clock. 59 minutes, like I'm going to hit an hour now. Yeah, once I see it's an hour, I'm like, yeah, I did it. I made it. And then I can go for a glass of water and I try my best to have breakfast. Skip any meal in a day, but not breakfast. At least have breakfast because it helps your brain get the required energy for it to function well. It's not bad to do intermittent fasting. That's okay. But breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's why there's that famous saying like eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and like have your dinner like a peasant, something like that. Yeah, I believe you're all aware of it. Yeah, and then something else is changing up the self-talk. I think we talked about like talking positively, thinking positively. It's really important. Changing your self-talk really helps you program or reprogram your mind. Avoid saying I must or I should. Yeah, I should get this done. I must get this done. And replace it with things like when can I start? Or I'll spend this amount of time doing this. It makes you feel less stressed, you know, and you feel like you can go for it and complete it within your time frame without feeling a lot of pressure. Because what you have to do is to ensure that you're not redirecting your saved energy to your stress. So you try to reduce on, on any kind of source of stress that might come to you. And, and something really important, just like we mentioned before, positive self-talk, because it makes you focus your energy in one direction. It's just positive. I love this picture. Um, and when I chose it, I actually called my wife and told her I'd like to have such a table on my dining room because it looks so simple, uh, and it's portable. You know, like you can move it anywhere. I love changing my environment most of the time because every time I need to change my thinking or I need to work on something that looks really, exhausting, that it's going to take a toll on my brain, I've got to change my environment. So it can even involve moving my table or changing the position of my study desk or even my bookshelf. It makes me feel different so that I can do something different. So that's one of the things that I call keystone habits, or they're called keystone habits. Have from one habit, it cultivates another habit, and you keep on making very small habits that push you into making a bigger habit. So I got a question. Is your mind full or are you mindful? I believe with the world of today, with COVID-19, with a lot of fake news and a lot of negative stuff on the media, it's possible to really feel intoxicated with information. But what can we do? You can redirect your focus from all those stuff to yourself because you need yourself. You don't need those things. You need your mind to make decisions, to be who you want to be. For example, wake up 20 minutes earlier than usual and have some peace, sipping tea. I come from Kenya. I love tea. So I wish we were having like a one-on-one session. And please, when Teranga Valley organizes a one-on-one session, I'll bring Kenyan tea. It's so refreshing. Have some peace, sipping some tea or a warm glass of water next to an open window or any balcony if you can. You don't have to have one. But at least wake up 20 minutes earlier. Listen to the birds or watch the beautiful sunrise. And your spirits will feel lifted. It's so therapeutic. It's marvelous. Why should we declutter our minds and space? Not just our minds, you also have to declutter your space. Sometimes just by clearing your table and not seeing even a sticker note makes you feel good. It makes you feel refreshed. Or, you know, going back home in the evening and you find your bed well done, perfectly done. Feel fresh. You feel like you're going to have good dreams. You feel like your new day tomorrow will come with perfectness, with a lot of perfection, because you created it in your mind. So declutter your mind. If we can actually borrow something from the monks, every time in the morning, they have to clean every inch of their space, despite their temple not being particularly dirty. The reason behind them cleaning so much is it enlightens their minds. it makes them feel good, makes them feel peaceful. And there's power in being clean. Even there's a proverb that goes, cleanliness is next to godliness. But you feel good. This reminds me of my aunt from Zimbabwe, who often says, clean your house. Like, clean your house to clean your heart. Hey, you gotta clean your house to clean your heart. I'm like, okay, I'll keep cleaning it. Because when your house is clean, when your when in when your table is empty, your heart becomes empty. Not really empty in the negative way, but you feel fulfilled. Interesting, right? Something else that I do, I clean my own shoes. Clean my own shoes. Makes me feel good. I look at them shining, and I feel like that's a lovely reflection. Like what a reflection. Because shoes are so important because we use them to go to wherever destinations we are heading to. It can be to a meeting with friends, or it can be to a project that you're running. It can be to a pitch, or even to work. So by cleaning your shoes, you're actually prepared to have a successful day, or even dusting your bookshelf, or polishing your floor. Believe me, this will make you feel a lot better. I've used it with my clients, and the results are perfect, almost 100% perfect. I actually spoke to um, a Chinese friend of mine like 2 weeks ago who had problems with her son, and I I told her, like, okay, does he spread his bed in the morning? She said, no, I have an IE, so like that's a house help who comes to help him make his bed. Oh, he is 9 years old. Can he try and make his bed? And magic, magic, magic. The boy makes his bed now, and he's now more organized. He feels like after he makes his bed, he can do something else. So keystone habits. You do one thing, it leads you into another. It prepares your mind. Our minds need to be prepared most of the time, or almost all the time. I believe this is one thing that most of you are aware of, so I'll not waste a lot of time on it because keystone habits are really important. One habit encourages the correction of others. So if you have, for example, um, a habit of procrastinating, so what you can do to kill procrastination is to break down the tasks that you want to have accomplished at the end of the day, and start by doing tasks that can take, for example, less than 5 minutes. They're going to motivate you to get to do a second task that maybe takes around 10 minutes or so, or 15 minutes. And at the end of the day, you'll have seen a great change. And keep repeating and never stop. Be a very, I can say, extreme and powerful change maker where you don't take a no, you don't take an excuse, even from yourself, and you don't make an excuse. So my habits are fully controlled by me from today. I believe we all have questions, and that's where I'm looking at. That's very critical. So what I basically talked about is it's important to journal. Try and journal 5 to 10 minutes in a day. You can pray, sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time every day. Join the 5 a.m. club if you can. It makes you feel good. Waking up early makes you feel good. Eat healthy when you can, when you can afford. Exercise regularly. Sleep for 7 to 8 hours. Aim for deep sleep. Learn to say no. Have a schedule, buddy. You won't regret it. Speak positive. Think positive. Be positive. Use affirmations in your daily tasks. Yeah. Weed out toxic people from your life. There is power also in being alone. And it's also good to be silent sometimes. And that's why we pray. Because when we are praying, yes, we are talking, but we are silent inside. And listen attentively. Be kind to others. Love yourself, love the people. And I believe, just like we talked about, being kind to others, volunteer, help others. Yeah. Choose what to do with your time. Choose what you consume. You can do a digital detox, even for 24 hours. Like, okay, I'm not going to check my WeChat. I'm not going to check my WhatsApp status, my Facebook, my Twitter feed. For 24 hours, you'll feel different. And cultivate selective ignorance. The main course is done. Thank you very much. You can have the dessert. Welcome any Q, and I'll give the A's.
Thank you so much, Noah. So let us know if you have any question. If someone wants just to unmute him or herself and just ask a question, or if you can't, just type in the chat box and I will read it. So anyone? No? Because if not, I have questions.
Sure.
So, okay. So thank you so much. Actually, I think as an entrepreneur, we are very much in this, how to say, in this quest. We are very much every day looking for having better habits that can help us to achieve more, that can also help us to feel more fulfilled. Because as you said, it's not only about making money. Sometimes we also need to feel that we are bringing value to the lives of people. So we have also this a bit of a conflict, right? Thinking about doing more, but also more meaningful things. And as you said, yes, it's also a problem of the consistency, the commitment. For me, I like to do so many things, and sometimes I'm not so consistent. So Teranga Valley was kind of challenge for me, and I decided to improve the consistency. I will commit that whatever happens, business is good, business is not good, I'm happy, I'm not, something happens in my life, I will keep on going, and I will keep on doing events on the weekly basis that actually we are keeping on since a year now. So that has helped me a lot with this consistency to improve many other areas actually of my life, because I can commit to it. I know I have the strength to go further. So I really think commitment and consistency, even in the small things, like you said, making your bed, right? It doesn't have to be something huge. You do your bed every morning, and you, whatever happens, I'm doing it. I'm not happy, I'm doing it. I have an appointment, I should not be late. Whatever, I'm doing it, and then it considerably increase your ability to be consistent and to commit. So it was just a thought about this point that you mentioned earlier.
Sure.
Wait, that's not a question. That's more kind of
Yes.
an input also from my side. For also the listening part that you said, it's true that sometimes we just want to just say what we think like maybe I just did, right? So I would love to have more, maybe more tips about that. Uh, how also to bring value, because when you are listening to someone, um, maybe sometimes you want to jump in because you want to help, like you think, okay, I can help, like, and you want to interrupt, but actually I know it's better to be just listening. But like, do you have some tips about that to be a better listener?
That's a beautiful question. And um, it's a whole topic on its own. But to answer it in a very simple way is, we listen to sometimes understand, and sometimes we listen to reply. And most of the time, when we listen to reply, we end up losing the listener's perspective, because sometimes they were talking about, for example, how to pitch a project to an investor. And by having not engaged them maybe within the levels of um, that, I can say, habit, or I can say that topic in particular, and veering off to something different, it makes them distracted and it shifts their focus to something different. But how can we work on being better at being good listeners and active listeners? One is by having a notebook. I do this most of the time, even right now as we're talking, having a notebook. Yeah, and I really value everything that I hear from everyone. I take notes on them because they shape what I do every day. Whatever I write, I really value it. So if I'm having a conversation with somebody and they say something valuable or something which I feel is helpful, I jot it down. I give them time to speak, at least until they feel they have exhausted what they wanted to say. And even ask, are you really listening? And I'm like, yes, I'm giving you time to finish what you're saying because I want to hear everything you want to say. And that's one of the critical skill sets that we need in various organizations. Apparently, we are living in a technological world where sometimes the technology does not give us the power to listen. People want to pick something and work on it without really delving deep into the subjects or things that we really need. So one is taking notes. The second thing is listening um, on the listener side, or listening from the speaker side, because you're listening from whoever is talking to you, and you can try to listen as if they're the ones who are speaking. And you also have to try and make use of, I can say, technological tools. Sometimes I record my conversations. So by recording, it helps me to keep track of what I said, what I might have left, and it also helps me to stay focused. Because when you listen for long, it's possible to get distracted or forget what someone had said, which is very important. So sometimes you can even distract them, or even disrupt them, or excuse yourself and ask them to repeat something. Yeah, which is a strength. Yeah, it's okay to ask someone to repeat than to let them assume that you understood, or vice versa. I hope that helps, and I have more to share. We can maybe link up after this.
Thank you so much. Someone in the chat asked, like one of the bad habits he has is he can't get away from his phone, especially from social media platforms. So, do you have some tips or some things to hack the brain, or some good habits that we can install? As you said, maybe in the morning, like to have the 24-hour social media detox. But yes, can you give us more, little more insight about that specific thing, social media and phone?
Wow, that's one of the questions that I answer in a very easy way. This is you, and this is your phone. So you stay here, you keep the phone there. That's called progressive extremism. You just say, I will not hold that phone. Power it off and keep it far away. Sometimes what I do is I just decide not to charge it. So it doesn't have power, and I give someone my charger. I don't want to have my phone with me for the next 2-3 days. And you get used to it. You realize sometimes you're checking your pocket and, oh, where's my phone? Ah, okay, I nowadays don't keep my phone with me everywhere I go. Okay, that's a very extreme way of handling such a problem. Another way is staying disciplined by having specific routines. You schedule when to use your phone. For example, you mostly spend time on social media apps. Select the apps that you need, not the apps you want. So for the other apps, delete them. What I did is I deleted almost 7 social media apps, and I keep only three which are critical, and I check them periodically for specific things. One, for my online business, I check at specific times, and I have parameters set for that. And then I also track the amount of time that I spend on my phone. iPhone can do that. It's really helpful. It tells me your phone usage has gone up by 20%. Oh, that's a problem. I have to get back that time. So by keeping track of the apps you use, it also helps you to control yourself. One of the simplest ways to do it, if you cannot keep your phone away from yourself, is delete the apps. It's super simple. And don't download it again until you feel like you are disciplined enough to only use it when you need it. And there are lots of other tips I can give after this.
Thank you. I notice as well for the bad habits, sometimes we need um, a strong motivation. Like, for example, I was not eating so bad, but sometimes I just like maybe 4 days a week we eat bad food like pizza or anything like this. And I have a son now. I had at the time when he was born, and he started to eat. And I realized that if I eat bad, he will want also to eat the same as me. So it was a big trigger for me, because before I really were on and off, good food, not good food. But then I really, it's like a responsibility. And I decided, it was last year, that all the time at home, it will always be healthy food. And of course, from time to time, if I go to the restaurant or I go outside or I'm invited, it's okay if I have maybe not so healthy food. And I kept this like 3 weeks, because we say that you form the habits. I don't know what is your opinion about that. To form a habit, you need 21 days. So I try to be very strict with the healthy food. 21 day, then I stop for 2 months, 1 or 2 months, then I do it again, then I stop, then I do it again, and eventually, after of course a year, it became a habit. Then I really want more the healthy food. Then the junk food, and I'm actually craving the healthy food now. So yes, I just want to know what you think about this motivation, like how to also create that deep willing to do, because you need something to move inside of you to take these radical decisions.
I agree. It's really important to have motivation, and um, if you look at it in a deeper perspective, motivation is what makes us do things. It makes us cultivate habits, but our emotions keep track of those habits. So sometimes, just like I had mentioned, uh, stress sometimes can make us, go back or revert to our old habits and wear the old gown, and not be able to keep track. But just like you said, when you feel motivated, when you come up with a realistic goal, like give yourself 21 days, realistically, uh, scientifically proven, it's been said that a, a keystone habit or a milestone habit needs at least 66 days to cultivate. So that means if we need to cultivate 10 habits, you know, need 660 days. That's 2 years to cultivate 10 habits. But you can actually do it in a more simpler way, especially if you have high willpower as opposed to low willpower. And willpower is more important than motivation, because sometimes we feel so motivated, and then um, when a certain small thing triggers our stress or our focus, and we end up going back and reverting again. Yeah. But I think once you have high willpower, once you're really willing to do anything, it can be so difficult, but difficult is only within the name or within the view. But within your mind, within your decision, you have seen that it's possible to do it, and you're able to do it, and you end up doing it. So that's a very beautiful way of doing it. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you, thank you. But I mean, I would love to see more people sharing about how they ended up, to make have more willpower. But I think it's also a matter of trying small things first. As we had also an event about tiny habits, and it was even smaller than I thought. Because for me, small, I think the definition of small I had was already big. So sometimes, yeah, we just put too much pressure on ourselves. We want to accomplish like something big directly, then we lose motivation, because of course you cannot come from zero and get there in 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. So that was very interesting to see about the tiny habits, that you really can do something as low as 30 seconds, to install a habit, and then you can move up from there. And I had a friend who tried this, and he told me, he said, okay, I will do pumps for 30 seconds every morning when I wake up. And he's not sporty at all. And by doing this, he increased it, and he can do now, like, I don't know, like 400 in a row or something like this. But he started super, super, super slow and for a long time. And then it added up little by little. So yes, let's also have realistic, and tiny is not bad. We need to start. Sometimes it's the start, like let's get it started, and feeling like, and rewarding yourself, like he said. Even if I do 30 seconds of the pumps, then I'm like, yes, you're good, you're doing well. Like, that's great, you made it. Like, encouraging ourselves, not just waiting that to reach the goal, to be like, yes, you do well. Like, every small step is important. Someone commented, she wants to ask you, sometimes she feels discouraged, and if you do know how to overcome the discouragement.
It's It's within the answer that I saw. Is it Sam? Sam who wrote it? You know, as humans, Sam says, as humans, we often
Melina.
emulate our environment.
This is Melina.
So we pick up good habits from surrounding ourselves with good people. So it will be interesting to learn about how to identify bad habits in other people and avoiding them. The answer um, to Melina is within that context. How do you overcome discouragement? It's a feeling, and feelings are very powerful things that can control us. But again, you can control your feelings because you need to, first of all, be curious and try to understand, oh, I'm feeling discouraged. And like split yourself into two, soliloquize, you know, ah, you're feeling discouraged. Talk to that self of you who is feeling discouraged. You're feeling discouraged. I'm not feeling discouraged. I was feeling discouraged, but now we are separated. And I'm now feeling much better. I'd like to do A, B, C, and D, and that's why you need to have things to do. You can feel discouraged when you don't have a schedule, when you don't have a routine, when you don't have positive people surrounding you, when you're having a mental breakdown. Sometimes most of these things are cultivated by not having not reading positive stuff, and not decluttering. Feel discouraged? Declutter. Even people who are sharing with you discouragements, because discouragements come mostly from things you have read, you've heard, you've said, sometimes things you've said. But you can be able to, you know, change the way you see things from the inside and not just changing the way you see things from the outside. Dig deep inside and see what you need to make yourself feel better. And I can offer a 1 hour free uh, session for you in case you'd like to learn how you can be able to feel different when you feel discouraged.
Thank you for offering.
Melina. Yeah.
We will connect you on the, you can scan, Melina, the WeChat of Noah, or if you are already in the group, we can also share the contact with of Noah if we are already connected on WeChat. Thank you. For also the discouragement, I think it's, for me, how I look at it, it's a feeling. A feeling is always, you know, you are happy, you can be not happy, and like a feeling is not reliable. So it means if I base my action on my feeling, I will always have ups and downs. So sometimes like the feeling is here and I need to accept it. We cannot always be happy. We cannot always be on the top of the positivity. Discouragement has a right to be there. It's a feeling that has a right to be there, but it's not a fact. It's not because I feel discouraged that I'm not able to do the thing I want to do. So I try to dissociate this feeling to the facts. I'm like, yes, I'm discouraged. Maybe I don't want to go to climb tomorrow. I don't feel like it. But does that mean that I cannot? Like physically, I can. Like if I put myself to it, if I do it regularly, I can achieve it. So this is the fact. So I tried like this to motivate myself, like change the focus, like acknowledging, yeah, I'm discouraged, but actually it doesn't mean I'm not capable of doing it. I could do this well. This, like you said, planning, having a plan, having some steps, like, yes, accepting it, and soon after thinking about alternatives, like what can I actually do, like motivating yourself in some ways.
Yeah, and also get people to motivate you.
Through accountability, maybe having some people doing with you, challenges. And by the way, for the food challenge, I was not alone. I was in a group, and it was really motivating because I decided I want to eat healthy. And in my moments, I saw someone saying, because it was January 1st, everyone has good resolutions, yeah? So she was like, I'm doing a group for healthier food and sports. And I was like, I'm going there. And then it was nice because people were also sharing and showing what they were eating every day. And they were also committed to 21 days. So don't hesitate to find people, maybe even in our group. You can send a message, say, okay, I'm starting this challenge to myself. And if someone wants to be accountability partner, we had an event on Sunday to hacking your body and brain, and it ended up in 3 challenge groups. If you want also to join, we had like intermittent fasting challenge, cold shower challenge, and meditation challenge. So we are like maybe 10 to 15 in each group. And yeah, we try to you motivate each other by small steps. And yes, I agree. This is a powerful way to make things happen, and continue not discouraging because you have other people doing it. Motivates you. And yes, even if you are down, don't worry. It's just a moment. You can continue later. Like, you need to accept it and anyway move forward.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
My pleasure, Melina. She said thanks for you, for both of us, and for you for offering the 1-hour coaching for her to overcome this feeling. So I think if no one has a final question, I will just wrap up. Like, it was really a great session. I'm feeling so motivated, like, to go back on my goals and put it in the calendar, because I think that is my biggest takeaway, to make the changes, more efficient. And thank you so much, Noah. We learned a lot. And I guess people, if they are already in the group, they can connect with you. We will be sharing as well. We have a letter coming after next month after all the events of this month, and we will be catching up some of your points, and we will also sharing your contact information for people to reach you out. Thank you so much, Noah.
Thank you, Isabel, and your group, and everyone who made time to attend this.